Why aren't you working? Oh, gosh. Brad, how's it going?
Hey.
Sit over here.
Is it me?
And I have
Do you
you
hesitate?
in one.
Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Well, that's
If you want to be
uncomfortable.
behind your name badge.
That would be logical.
I don't
It's
know.
a
That
great
only
start.
means that you want them to be able to identify you.
I don't know.
Just wait.
I'd like anonymity, please.
Are we
All
allowed
right,
to purchase
you
the
ready?
name badge
Yep.
before he's
Okay.
sworn in?
The Municipal Planning Commission will now come to order. Mrs. Blankenhorn, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Starr.
Here.
Mr. Ball.
Here.
Mrs. Ellsworth.
Here.
Mr. Hawkins.
Here.
Mr. Swallow. Mr. Deal.
Here.
Mr. West. We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. It should be noted that Mr. Ball is serving as the acting Safety Service Director at today's meeting, so he is fulfilling that role as well as the engineer's advisor. So anyway, we have a first order of business that we have a new commission member who needs to be sworn in. So, Mrs. Ellsworth, if you will go out to the front with me.
Sure.
Get you sworn in.
Your favorite part.
Oh, thank you.
Which camera is operating?
Okay.
Which is?
And I will have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ann Ellsworth,
I, Ann Ellsworth,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that upon... Let's start over. Let's start over. I, Ann Ellsworth,
I, Ann Ellsworth,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that upon entering office,
that upon entering office,
I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the Municipal Planning Commission for the City of Mount Vernon,
of the Municipal Planning Commission of the City of Mount Vernon,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office. During my
during my
continuance
continuance
in said office.
in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good decision.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. We'll have you sign this and we'll have to...
Okay.
You go and then we'll get that when we're done. You can just pass it back
Will
this
do.
way. Okay. Thank you and welcome, Ann. Commission members, in your packet were the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of July 13th, 2023. Are there any additions or corrections? Assuming or hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded for the approval of the meeting minutes of July 13th. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? They are approved. Okay. We have one item of business in today's meeting, and that is MPC 21. Mrs. Blankenhorn, will you read the item, and then we'll get rolling from there.
2023 MPC 21 for 0 Upper Gilchrist Road, parcel number 71-00050.000, a zoning amendment to PND.
Thank you. Commission members and audience members, I do apologize. I meant to read this before we started here today, but I'd like to read this before every commission meeting. And so just as a reminder to everybody here today, the purpose of the Municipal Planning Commission is to balance the public good with private property rights and interests. Also, the commission carries out all the powers and duties conferred upon it by the City of Mount Vernon's zoning ordinance or other city ordinances and the laws of the state of Ohio. This is a public meeting, and there are rules of decorum that we follow. We are committed to the democratic process, individual rights of expression, robust debate, and tolerance for different viewpoints. The following general rules of civility are expected, including addressing others in a respectful manner, no insulting, personal attacks, intimidating, or offensive communications, no harassment, no willful destruction or damage of property, and no disruptive behavior. Please silence all your cell phones and other electronic devices and refrain from private conversations during the meeting. If you need to come and go throughout the meeting, please do so in the least disruptive manner possible. If you are offering public comment today, you must first be sworn in by reading the statement at the lectern, and keep comments to 4 minutes. Again, the purpose of this commission is to oversee that the law is followed and planning concurs with which the spirit of those laws and regulations have been adopted by the city of Mount Vernon and the state of Ohio. So we have the first item up, or we have the item today up, and so who will be speaking on behalf of this? Please come to the lectern, have you read the statement swearing yourself in, and the floor will be yours.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Mackey with Lemon Development, 811 South Main Street, North Canton, Ohio, 44720.
Welcome, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. We're excited for the potential to bring another project to the city of Mount Vernon. Our last project, the Danbury Mount Vernon, opened in August of 2022. And the development process in the first year of operations has exceeded our expectations, which is why we are so eager to bring another project to the city of Mount Vernon. We are in contract to purchase the parcel adjacent to the Rockford Homes project, and we seek approval to designate the 33.89 acres on Upper Gilchrist as a planned neighborhood district. The current zoning is a mix of R1 single family and PND. First, I'll give you a little bit of background about Lemon Development. If you're not familiar, Lemon Development was established in 1976 by our founder and CEO, Bill Lemon. Since that time, our development experience includes residential land development, retail, multifamily, senior living projects throughout northeastern and central Ohio. I included in my packet some concepts for what we're looking at for the 33.89 acres. The proposed community that we're targeting is at 55 plus age targeted, and it will include duplex villas, 4 and 8 unit single story apartments, and a community clubhouse. Aside from the 8 unit apartments, all units will have attached garages. Our concept plan currently shows a total unit count of 156 units. These are concepts and have not been finalized. The market conditions will influence our final design, but I just wanted to make sure you guys had an idea of what we're looking at to hopefully bring to the city of Mount Vernon here. The estimated rents for the units will be approximately $1.75 per square foot, and units will range from approximately a 700 square foot red 1-bedroom apartment to a 1,300 square foot 2-bedroom villa with an attached garage. We're looking at the estimated development and construction costs for the community will likely be between $30 million to $32 million. Brookwood Management, our affiliated company, would serve as the property manager, and Brookwood currently manages approximately 1,500 multifamily units throughout the state of Ohio.
Brookwood
Management.
Brookwood, thank you.
Stormwater will be retained on the property. We will follow the Ohio EPA and Mount Vernon design requirements. All roads within the community would be private, but utilities would be public. Community amenities, as I said, we're going to include a clubhouse. The concept that I included today shows a pool that we have yet to finalize that. As we proceed through the design phase, we'll consider a range of amenities and services that enhance the quality of life for the residents. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have about the project.
Questions for Mr. Mackey?
You did, I wrote down, you said roads are private, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I don't, I mean, I was actually drove out there yesterday and there are already several kind of a planned community. There's a lot going on out there already. I guess pleasantly surprised we have some housing going in.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Mackey? Okay, then I think we will open it up to others. If you will just stand by in case if there are any questions that members from the audience might have, if you would come back up and answer them, that'd be great. You'll
Okay,
still be
I appreciate
sworn in, so you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to speak on behalf of this particular project? Does anyone wish to speak against this project? Sir, if you come up and have you read the swear-in statement, and then the floor will be yours.
My name is Jerry Lee Yates. My address is 12576 Upper Gilchrist Road, Mount Vernon.
Thank you.
And you,
I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability to help me God, under penalty of law. All right, I got a couple questions, mainly because my property borders that whole edge up through there. I heard where he said all water would be retained on the property, which that kind of bothers me a little bit too because of the way that they're shaping the neighborhood. I'm talking just regular spill off from that whole neighborhood. I'm worried that it will fall off into my area. And like I say, it's not so much the water, it's any chemical wash off that might come that might affect my drinking water. I have a private well. I also have a pond on the place, and my property is 90% wooded. So again, another issue I would have is the separation of keeping people just in their neighborhood and out of my woods. That also really affects me. I'm kind of wondering why we're going to go from R1 to the P&D. I mean, is there a reason that, is there numbers that support that we need more rentals up there instead of single family homes? I mean, they already have a portion already cut off for that. I would like to see, you know, how we support that, how we support so many more, you know, rental apartments versus single family owned. And my feeling on that too is a lot of people that have these managements, I'm watching it all over the news right now, and people are complaining about affordability and the maintenance and the upkeep on all that property. You know, which really, I see a bunch of people moving in, and it's a rental property. You know, no one takes care of rentals like they take care of their own personal properties. And again, why would we put everybody, is this the only place that could be developed for that? I mean, you've already got, what, almost 50 acres there that are already being developed? I mean, is this the only place in Knox County? Is this the only place around Mount Vernon? I do not have an objection to them putting single-family houses closer to my property like that. What I do care about is apartment buildings or, you know, multifamily units. That's where I really, it really starts to phase and bother me. I'm really worried about people coming onto my property from that area. And that's about all I have right now. Those are just some questions that I've been crossing my mind. I hadn't had that much time to really reflect on it because the project was started as soon as I bought the property. So I had no input, I had no say, hadn't heard anything about it. You know, what I hear is just hearsay from people. And it's going to affect my property probably more than anyone else's property out there.
Okay.
So,
Any questions for Mr. Yates?
Help us understand. Can you go to this page on the screen? Help us understand which property.
where my
Yeah, if you could point it out on the screen, it'd be super helpful.
Basically, this right here. This whole thing is mine.
Okay.
So it runs all the way down.
All right, that's very
Okay.
helpful.
Thank you.
Do you live on that property?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well, that property connects with my other property, which I had already bought 10 years ago, and this came up for sale. And again, there's no break in my property. It's one continuous property of the 15 acres that I already had to the 30 acres that I bought.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions for Mr. Yates? Thank you, Mr. Yates. Does anybody else wish to speak against this development or this proposed zoning change is what we're actually talking on, not, we're not talking about any site plans or anything like that. It's just a zoning change. Mr. Cart, you've been here before. You kind of know the drill there, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
My name's Don Carr. I live at 4 Upland Terrace. I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God, or under penalty of perjury. I haven't had a lot of time to prepare for this either. As a matter of fact, I don't even know where that last drawing or the layout drawing, where it appeared in public records.
It just came in yesterday. It has not been posted publicly.
Thank you.
So it kind of leaves the public in the dark as to how to approach this. But bottom line, we're looking at changing an R1 zoning, which is not, changing zoning doesn't seem to be new to the city, but to a PND. And PND is an alternative to traditional single-family developments by allowing integration of single-family and low to medium density multiple family housing. I think the concern that most of the people in the city are concerned about, especially related to Coshocton, we have 500 units going in already on the corner of Coshocton and Upper Gilchrist. Now we're talking about 9 units per building. I figured, was it six buildings possibly, 48 more apartments there. Again, whatever the last drawing was, whoever can switch to that. Thank you, Mrs. Blankenhorn. I think it shows, am I right, some 98 more townhomes, more rentals, again, bringing additional traffic to this area. We know we have close to probably 700 cars that are going to be coming to the Rockford property when that's developed. Now we're asking for more additional, what I would call not single-family homes. I don't see a single-family home on this drawing. I see townhouses and apartments, which is not low to medium density of this property. And I think we should put a moratorium on this kind of development for the moment and see how everything plays out on Upper Gilchrist, Newark Road, and possibly Martinsburg Road when that turns to be developed. We also know that somebody on Vernon View Drive from Maryland, another developer, is still considering putting high-density housing. We don't know that yet, but it's still in the dark. But another possibility of dumping more additional traffic onto Coshocton at an intersection that just can't handle any more than what it is. So I would encourage you to deny this application until we can lower the density of the plan that's being shown today. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Carr? Thank you, Mr. Carr. Does anyone else wish to speak against this? Mr. Kester, you know the drill. So.
My name is Gary Kester. I live at 24 Eastgate Drive here in town. And I want to come before you and encourage you to deny this application. Don's giving you a lot of good perspective on this issue. On a global basis, that is on this whole city situation, and the fact that I think the city is and needs to continue thinking about how it's going to plan for the next 10 years and all these developments that are coming in, one on top of another. Traffic issues, utility issues, schools, emergency. I don't see any document that lays all this out. I would like to see this application denied because it's insufficient. There's nothing here. This is all boilerplate. And I didn't have access to that drawing, but that doesn't tell me too much either. I think if we're going to allow a development of this nature with all the impact it's going to have in the city, we need to know in more detail what it's going to be about and how we can integrate it with the other developments that are around it. So I'm asking that you deny this application. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Kester? Okay. Okay, anybody else wish to speak against this? Does anyone else wish to speak just in general terms? Mr. Mackey, is there anything that was brought up that needs to be addressed in your opinion?
A couple things. I mean, one, the concept plan, if I'm not mistaken, that's not a requirement for this process.
That is correct.
So this is about the zoning amendment. If we are fortunate enough to have a recommendation, we'll go before city council. If we're fortunate enough to get through that process, then we go to the plan approval, is how I understood it. So the
That is
concept is,
correct.
again, I just want to make sure that people had an idea of what we are looking at to bring. As far as the P&D, I believe the rationale that we went for going for that was to allow the municipality to have a certain level of control over the development and understanding completely what we're putting there, what our intentions are to put there. So that it's not a bait and switch. We don't get a type of zoning that allows us to do whatever we want and then we change the plan. It's so that everyone is kind of in lockstep as far as understanding what the plan is. I understand the traffic concerns. As I understand it, we're in a design phase to improve Coshocton and Upper Gilchrist Road. There is accessibility issues here that we need to address, and we plan on doing that as we kind of get further down the development phase. But I believe the work the municipality is already doing will hopefully assist with that. And again, this is a age-targeted development. We'll be looking at targeting for 55 plus, and by how we target that. So one, we obviously have senior living experience with the Danbury Mount Vernon. We've constructed over 20 senior living communities throughout the state of Ohio. So we'll be having amenities and a living arrangement that is basically conducive for that type of demographic, which is much different than the demographic that Rockford Homes is going after. I believe they're going after millennials, whereas this is obviously targeted towards an older population. And we'll also do that, the housing type, it's single story, slab on grade. So maintenance-free living, which hopefully in turn actually, draws people in, seniors in, that will obviously open up housing stock for single families. Police station, fire, EMS was brought up. I believe, again, this is stages or phases that are going through the municipality right now, relocating a police station to the nearby. And then also, I think you're still scouting out second fire stations. Schools, again, with it being a 55 plus age targeted neighborhood, it's not going to be much of a concern, I believe. But just in general, multifamily households. So according to the National Multifamily Housing Council, 14.2% of multifamily households have school-aged children. And then multifamily communities built between 2010 and 2019, that number goes down to 10.8%. That's just general multifamily. Again, we're talking here age targeted 55 plus. As far as housing need, I believe, I know Jeff has brought it up a number of times about the Knox County forecasted housing need. There is a variety that over the next 10 years that study has laid out a variety of different types of housing that is needed in Knox County in the city of Mount Vernon. Again, from the application I sent, I kind of took some things out of the overall plan that I believe ties into this being a positive development for the city of Mount Vernon. As far as density, 156 units on 33.89 acres. It's about 4.7 units per acre. I believe, again, it outlines quite a bit of green space. We're not trying to pile on top. We're trying to make this an environment, a neighborhood that people want to live in, and similar to our Danbury Mount Vernon project. I think that's some of the concerns I try to address. But yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Mr.
Well, I was
Hall.
just asking if you wouldn't mind addressing the question of the gentleman about the water runoff. I mean, I know you kind of addressed that in your previous comments, but I guess do you have any further comments on that?
No, I mean, obviously, all that has to go through a process. Our intention is to control storm. We're not allowed to, nor do we have any intention of having stormwater go anywhere else. And there's a bunch of different processes that have to go through to make sure that things are approved, just like accessibility with the fire department, state fire officials. Those are certain things that we must adhere to, or there's.
If I'm not
great results.
mistaken, pending approval of this in council, then a comprehensive site plan would have to be developed, and that's where those particular issues would be very closely looked at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Ball, have there been any problems with the stormwater on Danbury's other facility here in the city?
No, they were able to meet all the standards for their project, and the permit has been closed in the completion of the project. So
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else wish to speak in general on this topic? Okay, and I think we are,
Hold
hold on a second, what?
Do we have any other comments?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. Do we have any other, hey, let me get through this, Don, and I'll get back with you here. Yes, it's always good when you follow your checklist that you created for yourself here. Do we have any communications received either through the phone or calls in writing, Mrs. Blankenhorn?
I did not receive anything.
Mr. Ball, are there any engineering concerns that you have with regard to this request?
No, not at this time.
Speaking as the engineer, obviously.
As the engineer, yeah, we
okay.
again, for the record, the city council has authorized us to enter into contract to design the complete redesign of Upper Gilcrest from Coshocton Avenue to the city limit, which is north of this site. That contract has been signed, and we are working as the fall comes around to schedule surveyors and geotechnical explorations. The details of the design will be worked starting in 2024. As they mentioned, we do have full city services, water, sewer, stormwater to this site with ample capacity for those. The traffic signal also will be part of the project, a complete replacement, modernizing the traffic signal, at least a left turn lane from southbound Upper Gilcrest to eastbound Coshocton Road.
And then right now, it's not necessarily the time that we bring in Shade Tree and Beautification Commission,
Yep.
but that would come with the site planning, I would think, so we'll save
Yep.
that question for later. Mr. Brown, are there any legal concerns regarding this request to rezone?
I don't have any concerns. I would note, though, that while we do have the engineering for the redesign of that intersection past there, we have not gotten to how we're going to pay for it, and City Council has just passed the NCA legislation. That's
correct.
And that this community will be eligible to become a part of that to help us pay for the new city services that will be needed for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else from a legal standpoint?
No.
Thank you. So this is a recommendation to council.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, Mr. Carr, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Please.
Please.
I think Mr. Broran may have touched upon it. Can you help us understand where we are in relationship to the cost that is passed on to the developer to make improvements on Upper Gilcrest? I know we talked about that related to the Newark Road
New Community Authority.
Although we haven't entered, the new community authority has been established.
Right.
That commission has been established.
Okay.
But at this point, we've had no one else apply to join it yet. But Lemon Development would have the opportunity to apply to join that. And how the new community authority, if I can put it into contrast terms, the TIF district, which is also out there, the tax incremental financing district, uses millage, the property value improvements that are from our regular property taxes, and puts it in a fund to pay for infrastructure development. New Community Authority adds millage for that particular development only. It doesn't, and so the rest of the population the rest of the citizenry does not have to pay for that. And so both the TIF and the NCA, if I'm not mistaken, can be borrowed against for future revenues.
They certainly can, and once we have the engineering, we'll be able to discuss with not only the property owners here for the Lemon, but also with Rockford, to what extent they are prepared to contribute to help us build the new intersections that will deal with the traffic that they will be bringing.
Right.
So does that mean that they're not really on the hook to pay for the
No.
improvements?
So what the concept of the
Help us.
new community authority is that growth pays for growth. So if we build a police station that is bigger than 9,000 square feet, these developments can pay for the portion of the building that exceeds the current footprint of the existing building. So that
we're
way
not-
growth is paying for growth.
We're not specifically talking about improvements to what is a horrendous avenue or street right now is Upper Gilcrest.
Well, it could also pay for that. So the developer would enter an agreement with the NCA organization, and then that group would define what they're paying for. So, right, those improvements could be listed as projects. There's no point in making an agreement at this juncture, but that all those doors are open, all those paths have been created by city council, by area development, and that way we're trying to unburden the existing residents when we're dealing with growth-related projects.
Which also, if I may add, utilizing the people who, I guess, pay to be in that, offsets the cost of the housing, which keeps the housing market lower than it would if they did not have that development tool.
To wrap it up, I think that most people are concerned about Upper Gilcrest and the condition that street is in. And whatever improvements need to be made, I think the community in general feel like it shouldn't be the taxpayers' responsibility to make improvements on Upper Gilcrest.
Right, and for your reassurance, the engineering work is being paid for by the TIF district for Coshocton Avenue, not the income tax or other fees. That project is a TIF-funded
Right.
design project.
Specifically that intersection, though,
The whole project.
Upper Gilcrest.
The design contract is only funded with TIF district funds.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we are ready for, the chair will entertain a motion so we can get this on the table to discuss. Is there a motion to approve MPC 21 in the rezoning?
I will move to approve MPC 21.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded for the approval of this rezoning. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, it's a recommendation to
Recommendation.
council for
Thank you.
approval.
Friendly update.
Production manager, director of photography, and obviously
His girl.
personal assistant here. Thank you, Mrs. Blankenhorn. This is a recommendation to city council. Okay.
So, Brian, I know this is very premature. I know there's a lot of, as you just explained, there's a lot of avenues and options moving forward, but back to kind of the traffic issue, you'd mentioned a turn lane. I mean, have we done a traffic study at this intersection yet? And so there is kind of like a couple options or plans in place based on how many, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, we've studied, so when the ODOT did the road, when they paved the road through Coshocton Avenue, we made some adjustments to the crosswalks to improve the cycle time of the traffic signal. We did some temporary repairs because the wiring is getting old in the signal. We have done a full-blown study and a computer model of Coshocton Avenue, and so we have basically a needs assessment.
Okay.
We've noticed some additional technology failures. Some of the sensors are starting to fail. So we're getting a lot of calls that people are waiting multiple cycles to exit the light. Mr. Tom Hinkle, our Public Works Director, we're working to put a proposal to use TIF money to fix those sensors. So some of that will be taken care of sort of interim while we're working on a bigger project to widen the intersection and improve it. The road improvements, it is basically the service level is of a township road. So what we would do is going to the city limit, we would reconstruct the road, making it slightly wider with more of a safety edge, or part of it may end up with curb and gutter. We would be adding sidewalks on the plan is to add sidewalks to the west side and a bike trail where we can to the east side. Take some of the humps and valleys out of the road to improve sight distance. A new road foundation. The road's the base is in failure in a lot of locations from the truck traffic from construction and just the age of the road. So it would be a complete reconstruction. It would have more of the look and feel that you have on Upper Gilchrist, south of Coshocton Avenue, north of Yarger Road,
Okay.
but maybe not exactly.
Yeah. All
There's
right.
still
That's
a lot to
helpful.
work out.
Thank you.
It'd be a lot safer road. We also do have the daycare drop-off zone that's, needs to be improved.
I like the added control the city has with the PND, personally, and then you can make sure that all of the stormwater issues and everything that what Mr. Yates was talking about and others have expressed concern on, gives the city more control over that, more oversight on that particular thing. I think this checks a lot of boxes also on our comprehensive plan, because it is building housing around existing infrastructure rather than sprawling. And this has been developed, I think, was this annexed at 2013 or something? It's been a while back when it was annexed in under the former owner of that. And we know I know we've been growing. We've been gaining a lot of housing units. In the last year, we've had several hundred, I think 1,300 plats that have been registered with the recorder's office in the city limits alone. And again, under the comprehensive plan that's been in effect for quite some time, 2014, under the comprehensive plan that's been in this concept has been around, I think, also since the inception of that, which is, again, to keep the growth contained inside the city limits and where the existing infrastructure is. So the more density means it's less per capita cost for stormwater, water, wastewater, and then also the added tax revenues. And so I personally see this as a win. I know that the growth still scares a lot of people, but if we don't manage where the growth goes, it's going to grow around us anyway. And we will not benefit from the tax revenues or the utility fees. They'll be wells and sewers, and we'll still have the traffic, in my opinion. Any other discussion?
I mean, I guess for the public, if you go towards Centerburg, drive on Updike Road, there's houses on 5 or 6 acres. There's a lot of cornfields that have been consumed by development. Those septic tanks are going to go bad. People are going to have a lot of issues to deal with in the future. For development, a slightly higher density, also with more control. I think to discuss the question about the previous applicant on State Route 768, that was an R3. R3 is wide open. The city doesn't have any say over much of what they do. Look at Lacey, it's very wide open. I feel personally that R3 and R2 zoning is probably antiquated. These things should be either eliminated or adjusted to where the city has a little bit more control. So we're making sure that we're getting a nicer product and things that are easier maybe to maintain. It was mentioned affordability. Across the street, the single-family development, it is costing $70,000 per lot to the buyer to buy the developed lot. So if we're just at all discussing affordability, single-family is not affordable for the majority of our income categories here in Mount Vernon. It's $70,000 a lot when you're paying for your part of the road, your part of the sewer line, your part of the water line. The other thing I think to think about with the sidewalk, with the bike trail, with some of these amenities connecting to your comment, I think that the demographic that we're seeing using a Danbury product, those folks are looking for a sidewalk, handicap accessible walkways. We're not seeing them out walking through the woods around Rural King, and those folks are going to want bike trails and improved surfaces to walk on more so than single family. You may have more kids that would like to play in the woods. This is obviously an older generation, so I think they're going to be wanting to use the other city services.
Any other comments or discussion on the matter? Mrs. Blankner, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Starr.
Yes.
Mr. Ball.
Yes.
Mrs. Ellsworth.
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins.
Yes.
Mr. Deal.
Yes.
It has been where we will recommend this zoning change to City Council, and they will, y'all will have a chance to come back and talk with City Council then at this particular point.
It'll be a mandatory public meeting.
Yes, there's a public meeting on this. So, is there any other business on the floor?
I have nothing further. There is a special meeting in 2 weeks for another agenda item that we needed to get squeezed in.
Thank you. I would also, thank you for that, yes. I also would like to mention that been working with Mrs. Blankenhorn and Mr. Braun on creating the formal set of bylaws. We have a draft that we will be able to share very soon with everybody so that we can just kind of formalize these processes, and it's something to help. Mrs. Ellsworth is a perfect example because she's just we started her onboarding 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and so this is also one of those steps that we're looking for all of our commissions that do not currently have bylaws. So anyway,
Those bylaws will be introduced in 2 weeks. I advertised that in the paper.
thank you very much. Okay. Anything else?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Been moved to adjourn. Any a second?
I second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
So like the A2s, is that just, that's agri, that's what I was assuming.
Suburban agriculture.
I was trying to look all that up, trying to understand. Yeah, okay, so that's what that was.
I can't.
And then
No, I was kidding, but I'll take it.